Hi, audio lovers. A question was put to me recently. Can I use an old phone as a music streamer? The answer is yes, you can. We'll look into this now. We'll have fun doing it. If you like what you're hearing, hit subscribe and like. So, any Android phone of the past decade or so anything with 3.1 Android or higher, same vintage applies to iPhones, can be used as a basis for doing this. What you're going to want is to look into the specs of your old phone. A good source to do that would be GSM Arena. You can put in your phone, they have all kinds of specs on the phones. The most important thing is, and it's a deal breaker, okay? You have to have USB OTG on the go. Means the ability to send audio and video through the USB port. The USB port can be the old style mini micro, or I forget how they're called, or USB-C. Doesn't matter, but it needs to be OTG enabled. So you can see that through GSM Arena. And it needs to be able to play the role of the USB host to another device. That's also important. These things are mentioned in the specs quite often. If you have that and you have Android 3.1 or higher, meaning vintage about 2012 or newer, the same applies to iPhones. Happy days, you can do this. So let's dive into how you would do this. You need something called a USB OTG cable. The OTG cable is basically the male side of it goes into your phone. The output, the female side, is a USB female A connector. So basically, you start with this cable that appears connected to the phone here. That's the USB OTG connector. You then use USB to connect that to your DAC. A DAC could be any standard USB DAC, or it could be a portable DAC, like a dongle DAC. If you have any one of these two lying around, happy days. So if you're using already some kind of portable USB DAC, that's great. If you have an old DAC that might not be state of the art, but still useful, has USB, happy days. You can use that as well. And on the back end of that, on the output side, you connect the DAC to your receiver, stereo, amplifier, whatever. If it's old and if it's vintage, you would do that through the RCA. RCA to RCA in the case of a USB DAC, 3.5 millimeter to RCA if you had a portable DAC. To the stereo RCA side of your receiver, aux, if it's really vintage. If the amplifier is more modern and has a DAC built into it, you might consider going by digital inputs, okay, through Toslink or optical. May or may not be better depending on how good your source DAC is or your amplifier DAC, but it's worth a try. Having established a basic topology, that's how you would connect it, guarantees certain things. It guarantees that you'll have at least CD-like or CD quality level USB all the way through, and then you can use your phone as a digital source. Is that good enough? Probably not. So you also need some good software to lie on top of that. So the Android world comes to your rescue. And this is where I think the solution is a bit better for Android phones than it is for iPhones. But what you need is a software that can bypass certain restrictions that exist in Android for doing better than CD quality, better than 44K or whatever it is. So USB Audio Player Pro is an excellent choice for that. I've used it for a couple of years now. It can basically take away all of the Android restrictions and give what the phone can give. Usually that's 192K. Again, you can also see this on GSM Arena. It can go up to 384. I've tried it up to 192 actually. I don't have 384 files and it works. Wonderful. They say it can even do DSD up to 128, I think. So this is a very good way of using basically your phone as a digital transport of sorts to get the signal across. It also has the benefits of acting as a music hub. So you can pump your Tidal through there, whatever files you have on a network share. It has a player that's very capable. I think it even has an EQ and some other fancies. You can use this as a hub, as a streaming hub, much like you would use a real streamer. And you can add other things on top of that. There's an app called which is called Audios. If you want, like the internet radio stations that you want them, but you don't want to be charged every month. That's a good solution. I often use that. Using those two together actually can mimic pretty well what a streamer can do. And the audio quality is quite respectable because it actually using the phone or the old, I mentioned, phone or tablet. Phone or tablet as a transport. The side benefit of this has its own screen. You have it on screen. So this is lovely because you don't have to buy an expensive streamer with its own screen. So those start from like $400 or so. So why go through all of that? The other added benefit is that you're using the Android environment, so you can leverage hundreds of apps that are relevant in this area. So I mean, for example, I say here USB Audio Player Pro. There may be others as well. I say Audios app. You may want to use TuneIn, or you may want to use, I don't know, whatever. It's all there. It's not all there in whatever streamer you may buy. The manufacturer will lock you in to their environment. So, good stuff. And you've done it on the cheap. You used your old phone or tablet that was lying around. Hey, happy days. Suppose now that you want to use this as a permanent solution, because what we described earlier is sort of like a mobile solution. In other words, if I cannot power my phone while it's playing the music, it will die after, I don't know, a few hours, right? What if I want this thing to be permanently hooked up, to be powered on, whatever? It means I also have to be able to pass power through this phone or tablet, which means effectively I want to do more things with that USB port. Not a big problem. Actually, not a problem at all. You buy a USB-C hub, You want it. You want this. You want a type of USB-C hub that has audio pass through, and PD charging. The charging, obviously, because you want to attach a charger to the back of that hub, and the audio pass through because you want to be able to use the same thing, the same topology. Being one of the things you want to hook up to this hub is this USB OTG cable you just bought, and you want the audio coming through the USB to the output to the hub to your OTG. Wonderful. While you're at it, since you're building something more permanent, you could also get yourself a USB to Ethernet adapter. So you can connect that also to your Ethernet cable, your Ethernet hub switch, whatever, in your home. That adds to the solution. It makes it more robust and more dependable, right? Because a cabled connection is always better. This environment can also be left on. It can be powered on. Especially with Android. Android doesn't really matter because it switches itself on into low power mode and it can stay there for. I left this old tablet I'm using for the solution. It's been on for like a year. Okay, every 3-4 months it does roll over. Okay, and you have to like reboot it. But so what? It doesn't really matter. There you go. Lovely. It works, right? It sounds as good as your typical streamer. It has a big screen to it. Happy days. If you're going the Apple side of things, instead of the USB OTG cable, you would need the Apple Lightning to USB camera adapter. It's the full name of it. This allows the audio pass-through on the USB. And on the player side, you need Apple Music set to high res. This also bypasses some of the inherent restrictions that iOS applies, and enables you to use it as a lossless transport. Happy days. There are also other environments, other apps you can buy on top of Apple Music. If you don't like Apple Music, it's not enough for you. If it doesn't give you that feeling of a full-fledged musical hub, there's fewer choices though than there are in the Android world, but still there are. So, also works on iPhones, iPads, etc., etc. If something's less than 10 years old or so, it should work fine. Again, go into GSM Arena and look at the OTG capabilities, etc., etc. So that's it. I'll be doing follow-up videos on other ways to do streaming as well, but this is a very cost-effective means of starting with it. So, have a great day, be positive, and see you again shortly. Yeah. Nick out.